often that an old Army guy gets to introduce a Navy SEAL, but Gabriel Gomez, hopefully our next senator.
Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody coming out. Me llamo Gabriel Gómez. Yo no soy un político y estoy corriendo para ser senador de los Estados Unidos. Now, for those of you who don't know Spanish, my name is Gabriel Gómez. I've never been in politics, and I'm running for the United States Senate. Now, some may wonder, why I started in Spanish. Well, it's an old habit. See, my parents immigrated from Colombia a year before I was born. And when I was born, my mom didn't know any English, so I learned Spanish first. And I quickly learned English in school, but my mom, she learned English going to the grocery store and just talking to her neighbors. Now, just like the Pilgrims were the first immigrants here in Massachusetts, they landed right here, my parents were right behind them. 344 years later, they landed at LAX. Now, even though the Pilgrims beat my parents here, my family came here for the exact same reasons. And that was for the American dream. It was the American dream of freedom and opportunity. And it was a chance to achieve success regardless of race, gender, or social status. Now, as a kid growing up in Yakima, Washington, we were your typical middle-class family, except our last name was Gomez. Now, my dad, he sold hops to beer companies, and sometimes I look back and I wonder if I should have followed in his footsteps, or at least sampled more of his product. Instead, I had a calling from an early age to serve my family's adopted country, and I applied to the Naval Academy. Now, I graduated from the Naval Academy, but I never left the Naval Academy or the values it taught me. 4 years as a midshipman, taught me and reinforced one of the core values that my parents enforced in me. And that was, it's far greater to serve than it is to be served. So after graduating from the Naval Academy, I went to flight school. I became a Navy pilot. I flew on and off aircraft carriers. And this is just a couple of years, you may remember, after Top Gun was released. Now, Iceman was already taken. But Lieutenant Gomez sounded pretty cool. Now, even though things were going great, I had a different calling as a naval officer. I wanted to become a Navy SEAL. And my commanding officer tried to do everything he could to talk me out of it. He reminded me that less than 20% of the people that go through SEAL training successfully complete it. And if you don't make it through, you're going to lose your wings, and you can't come back and fly. Now, having absorbed all that and knowing what the odds were, I still did it. You see, I didn't want to look back and have any kind of regrets in my life. Now, I'm really proud of my time in the SEAL teams. However, the best part of my time in the teams was on my first SEAL detachment. And that's when I met a beautiful young woman named Sarah. I wish she could be here today. She was with us earlier this morning. Sarah was a Peace Corps volunteer and a teacher for children with special needs in the West Indies. Now, Sarah and I have been married for over 17 years now, and we've been in Cohasset for the last 12 years, where we live with our 4 kids and 2 dogs. Now, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am today if it hadn't been for Sarah's support, her wisdom, and her true love. Now, talk about an odd couple. You've got a Peace Corps volunteer, and you've got a Navy SEAL. These are 2 of the best things that America has to offer. Now, when I left the SEAL teams, I went to Harvard Business School, and I started a career in the private sector. I literally lived the American dream. this is the reason my parents came to America, for the chance. I got an opportunity to serve in the Navy, and I have a chance to build a career. That's the beauty of America. I don't think my parents ever in their wildest imagination could have ever imagined that their son would have so many amazing opportunities. I spent the last 15 years in the investment business, helping companies grow and be successful. But the most satisfying part of my job is to help invest, manage, and grow retirement funds for public servants. Public servants such as firefighters, police officers, teachers, many of them right here in Massachusetts. These are public servants who have dedicated years of service to their communities, and they deserve a good retirement. But I got to tell you, as a businessman, if I were evaluating the federal government today, I would say that it's an overextended, bloated system that literally has no budget, runs a significant annual loss, and is over $16 trillion in debt. I could never invest public pensions for Massachusetts public servants in a company like that. Yet we're all invested in that government, and it's time to fix it. When I look at Washington, I see a lot of bickering, partisanship, and I see a lot of problems. America's got a lot of problems right now, and what it needs, though, is it needs problem solvers, and that's exactly why I'm running. Now, when I first announced that I was running for Senate, a lot of people out there said they never heard of me, said that I wasn't that active in politics. Well, guilty as charged. I'm proud of that fact. I don't know the political lingo, and I don't want to learn it. I want to have candid and open conversations with real people. I want to serve with common sense and straight talk. I mean, what a great country. I mean, an immigrant son can step up and run for office. Now, there's going to be times in this campaign, where I'm going to appear confused. I mean, for instance, I'm confused how the U.S. Senate has not passed a budget in over 4 years. I'm confused how the federal government can continue to spend more money than it takes in. I'm confused by politicians who can't seem to work together for the common good. But I'm really confused how we, the people, continue to vote them in. So when you run for office, people in politics, they try to assign labels to you. I mean, even in a normal, seemingly conversation will come up and they'll ask, are you a moderate? Are you a conservative? Are you a liberal? Well, my response to them is this. I'm a Navy guy. I'm partners with the Air Force and the Army. I'm a businessman. I'm a father. I'm a husband. But I'm an American. Now, sure, I'm running as a Republican, but I'm a new kind of Republican. And obviously, I've got some conservative views, but I'm an independent thinker. And I have no interest in going down to D.C. to engage in trench warfare. We have enough of that. We have enough folks doing that already from both sides of the aisle. I spent my career working with all different kinds of people, with all different kinds of views, and some of them have views that I disagree with, but we still found a way to work together. Now, having said all that, you're probably wondering, why is he doing this? Well, let me tell you a story of a recent conversation I had with a Navy buddy of mine. Upon seeing that I was running for the Senate, he gave me a call, and his first question was, are you out of your mind? Now, my wife says that quite a bit to me over the last 17 years. He said politics is dirty. They're going to smear your good name. And the worst part is that if you win, you've actually got to go down there and serve and you got to swim in that cesspool. Now, I was a Navy SEAL. I'm a pretty good swimmer. And I've swum in a little bit worse things than cesspools. So I'm not really worried about that part. Now, while I appreciate my buddy's concern for me, I realized too many people think that way. Now, I didn't take this stuff lightly. I understand how nasty politics is, but I know who I am, and I know what I believe in. So my reply to my Navy buddy was this: what if everyone took that same attitude? What if we just left things the way they are, and we let the politicians run the politics like they do right now? You're going to get more of the same. You're going to get gridlock, you're going to get dysfunction, and you're going to get failure. So I'd rather try, even if I fail, than to stay on the bleachers complaining. So then my friend said to me, "You sound kind of naive." Maybe so. Call me naive, because I think our government can do better than this. Call me naive, because I believe that both sides should be working together for the common good. Call me naive, because I believe that it doesn't have to be this way. Now, the simple fact is that if we're going to preserve the American dream for future generations, we need to get our spending under order, and we need to focus on the economy. Now, talking about the economy, there is one place in this country where the economy is doing better than most places, and that's D.C. The government business is booming. The lobbying business is booming. The special interest group business is booming. Washington's doing great, but the rest of the country is still struggling. Now, today there are thousands of lobbyists in D.C. Some of them are former congressmen, senators, and staffers. How about this for an idea? How about passing a law that says, if you're a former senator or congressman, you can't be a lobbyist. You can either be a public servant, or you can be a lobbyist. But you can't be both. And while we're at it, how about term limits? The president's term limited. Our congressmen and senators should be term limited. Let them come back and live under the laws that they've passed. Let them come back and live in the communities with the people they serve. And let's think about the sequestration right now, about what's potentially going to happen tomorrow. You can go to my website, gomezformod.com. We've got a petition up there that says, just go in there and just hit petition. It says that until they fix the sequestration problem, no congressman or senator or the president should get a paycheck. They've already kicked this thing down. They've already kicked this down the road once. It was supposed to be January 1st, and now they've kicked it to March 1st. I'm a guy whose cup is always half full, and I have faith that they're going to do something. But I think we need to put some pressure on them, so please go to the website. Now let me finish up with a few observations. Too many in Congress are entrenched in their political ideology. Now, I endeavored to be a voice of bipartisanship, common sense, and reasonableness. Sending yet another career politician to the Senate would be more of the same. So ask yourself, is this the best we can do? Is this addiction to debt as good as our government can be? Ask yourself, is the path that Congress has us on a path that you can in good conscience pass on to your kids? You and I know Congress has failed us. You and I know this path is unsustainable. You and I